Ladies and gentlemen, please be standing for the Mayor, Angela Williams, Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Shuster.
Hello, everyone. So welcome everybody, and firstly, happy New Year to everybody. Christmas already feels like such a long time ago, I have to say, but that is it. Do we actually have a break? I'm not sure. Anyway, right. Welcome, Jamie.
Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you too. All right, so let's start the meeting, shall we? Good. So, hopefully you've all seen your agendas, just to run through the informal sections for information purposes to be taken as read. Declarations of interest. Obviously, members are reminded to declare any declarations of interest on any of the items to be considered, please. And the same is said for any urgent matters. You are all now familiar, I hope, with the provisions as set out by the Freedom of Information Act 2000 and also the Data Protection Act 2018. Mobile telephones, can I just give a gentle reminder to everyone that phones please switch to silent or turn off, just so that it avoids any disruption. Of course, if you do need to keep your phones on and need to take a call, then just please leave the chamber as quietly as possible. This meeting is being recorded, and you'll see that it's also being live streamed. So by remaining in this room whilst this meeting is ongoing, you are deemed to consent to this. If there are any concerns about that, then please say as soon as possible. Generally, we'd like any concerns raised about live streaming to be raised with us pre-meeting, but a notice is there. Public participation. Now, members of the public can be given an opportunity to address councillors present at the meeting regarding agenda items. I understand that there are some members of the public here who may wish to speak on the notice of motion relating to the Zero Hour Campaign for Climate and Nature Bill. What I propose doing is doing that in the formal session. So when we get to that motion, it makes sense that it's tied up with a nice tidy bow and you do it in one go rather than wasting your time now and then having to repeat everything later. So let's do that all together. So right, so moving on to the agenda, please. Part one. We are now entering formal session. So I can see Jamie is here. Thank you, Jamie, for coming and say welcome. So I'll leave it for you.
Thank you. I've got my normal prayer for you, but before I do, I just want to share a brief challenge that I've been challenged on since the new year. I've got a really frail, poorly mum who lives in Tidmouth, and what I've been challenged about is I can often run around doing stuff for my mum constantly, making sure she's got this, got that. She tells me what she needs, and I end up fixing this or sorting this out. And I've been challenged to not always run around doing stuff for my mum and actually spend some time with her. And I've really appreciated and had some really lovely times. We've simply just gone I've wheeled her along. We've just had a cup of coffee, and then I've wheeled her back and I've said, don't give me any jobs today, Mum. I'm just going to take you out for a cup of coffee. And it's just been a real blessing. And I just wonder if we all need to hear sometimes that it's okay not to do this or do that or want to change the world all the time. Just sit and have a cup of coffee with people who are really dear to us rather than rush around doing. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Almighty God, in whose loving Christ we can never be parted, bless these dear servants, I pray, of our community. By your Holy Spirit, I pray that you would enable them to achieve far more than they could ask or imagine. And please bless our community, we pray, from the youngest to the oldest, for those in pain and mourning this evening, and for those in great joy and rejoicing. Be near to your people, we pray. And we continue to pray with heavy hearts for this broken world that we live in, for wars to cease, for peace to reign, for justice to be done, and equality to be had. Hear our heartfelt prayer for this evening, but also for this world that we live in. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Amen. Lovely to see you all.
Lovely to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. See you next time.
Before we start, I trouble something to bring one of those lovely good jugs of water over to this table. It's already gone. Thank you so much.
You know this place.
I
Need to know this place.
thought Councillor Kramer was keeping the control to himself. Thank you for that. Okay, so moving on, police reports. I don't think we've got any at the moment. Can I also just thank Councillor Atkins for her recent flurry of emails with updates from the police. They are very helpful and obviously with dissemination in the community. I'm sure I know that Councillor Underhill sends these things directly as well, but they are useful to share and supplied onto our sites for the community to view. Okay. Next item is our county councillor reports. I have had in the councillor report from Councillor Cox. Councillor Cox, can I just mention, please, that the report needs to go to the town clerk as the proper officer. But also what I'm concerned about is there are a lot of those emails are going to members of the council on private emails, which shouldn't be happening, please. So I don't understand why that's happening, and those who are recipients need to please come and speak to the clerk to make sure that their IT and their emails, their town council emails are working. Anything council related should be sent to and from your town council emails, unless of course you are acting in another role as a district or county councillor. I also want to just mention to you, you're going to give an update following Friday's meeting at PCC. Do you want to do that for the moment?
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Basically, it was unanimous that the council supported no counselling of elections. Only Plymouth and Exeter are in Devon are likely to have elections. Torbay is not going to have elections. And they have both basically said they don't want to cancel elections. Exeter and Plymouth tend to have yearly elections anyway, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference. So that's what is going to happen, and that was unprecedented unanimity by the council back in Julian Brazil, our leader.
Okay, thank you for that. I also noted on your report, I think it's important to address, please. You made mention of having been, the toilets are going to be discussed later in the meeting and part 2, so all councils will receive an update in relation to that matter. But I was concerned to read on your report, which is obviously in the public domain as well, that you had been informed by the Teignbridge Director of Planning, Teignmouth Town Council, and that you'd had those direct discussions with the Director of Planning, I've made inquiries about that, and there doesn't seem to have been any sort of conversation at all between you or the director of planning, or who is in fact the director of place, or indeed his colleague. Now, I'm referring to Mr. Blaney and Mr. Perry at Teambridge. I'm just concerned that you put that into a report which is in the public domain, which in itself, as you have referred to in your report, brings the council into disrepute. I'm just concerned by that. So if you would like to speak to me afterwards, then you can tell me when you spoke to those representatives and the name of the representative you spoke to, so I can follow that up.
I spoke to Mr. Perry, and I was witnessed by the chairman of the planning committee.
Well, you tell it that, Scott, so that's well, it's clearly not correct, so I will go
Well,
back
it's
to
correct.
and to deal with that. But that we'll deal with that separately. But as far as the information we received as at the end of last week, that's not correct. In any event, I am concerned about discussions, and I'm going to raise it. I had been thinking hard about whether I raise this publicly, but I think it is important to, because when we have councillors who are engaged with district or county, and are also town councillors, it is really important that we are clear as to what information is being fed back to or from those respective tiers of local government, because this is where we end up with misinformation, or other councillors on other jurisdictions being told information about this town council which is not correct. And by that, and I am going to address this publicly, Councillor Fox, because it's really important with information that comes from you as a county councillor and a district councillor to us as councillors in relation to items that you want to put on as motions for the agendas. Now, you have told the solicitor at Teambridge Castle that items from you to go on this town council agenda are always refused and rejected by our town clerk on the spurious code of conduct grounds, which is absolutely not the case. You have put that in an email, and I have the email. I'm looking at it now, and I also have the email from the solicitor and the Democratic Services Manager and Deputy Monitoring Officer at Cambridge, which is completely contrary to that. So I would like to know really why you are saying that, why you are saying that information and giving that information.
That's not a county council issue. I'm giving my county council's report.
Yes,
That's
I
a council thing.
yeah,
I
am dealing with these matters because they are important, because they will feed on to matters that we need to discuss when we come on to the motion.
We need to come on. We need to do
But that's the
district
motion.
council and
But
town council.
I'm dealing
happy
with
to
it
explain
now
why did-
again while it's here. All right. So I would like you to respond to that. Whether you choose to do that now or the motion, that's entirely up to you. And also to provide a public apology for that as well. So is there anything else in your district report, or is that everything?
I know there's the dealing with the ghost bins, where we've got trade bins around the town, and we've got some empty bins left on the thing, was left on the streets, but the waste companies seem to allow them to do that. I'm trying to get different county councils to deal with it. It doesn't seem there seems to be any mechanism to do that. So if you're a cafe and you have a table and chair on on the pavement, you are charged. Where if you park your car on WD light, you get a ticket. But if you put a trade bin, it seems there's no mechanism to deal with charging those items on the highway. And then the disabled people have said they're blocked. And of course, in George Street, we've got the public bin being blocked by dumpsters being put around there.
Well, that's a job for you, isn't it? As your role as county councillor. Okay, right. Any district councillor reports? I've got. Thank you, Councillor Atkins. I've got your report, and I've also got a report from Councillor Jackie Jackson. My report is also on there, but although it's at the town council element, but without my name for some reason. But anyway, but thank you for those. And that'll be actually there in the public domain for others to pass and consider as well.
You want to just do a quick update?
Yeah.
District council.
Yeah.
One of our members did a notice of motion to get Tinbridge to send a letter to James Vaughan, the police commissioner, because he had announced plans to close the custody suite in Torquay. Which
Sound councillor.
I beg your pardon, yeah, which would have had serious ramifications for South Devon because the nearest custody suites are way distant from there. The council agreed, and actually at the weekend, Commander Vaughan actually came back and said that actually he's put that on hold and that they are not going to close custody suite in Torquay in the near future. They're going to do another piece of work to see what other possibilities are available. So, that's a relief to a lot of people, although, unions are involved and TUPE and everything that might happen in terms of redundancies. But I think it's the service level that was worrying Councillor Jane Taylor, who made the proposed the motion, because she's an ex-police officer and knows exactly what she's talking about. So it's nice to see that there's been a success through our district council. And that was also copied to the Police and Crime Commissioner. So at my suggestion, I don't think anybody else put that forward. So we made sure that she was aware of a possible change of service that was actually quite earth-shattering for a lot of people.
Is it still on the agenda? Because it's on the TDC agenda, isn't it?
Probably to receive the letter, I would suspect.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because that only came at the weekend. And I think it's good that he has shown the flexibility to, and he does actually say it's yes. Thank you for your patience and also your feedback and engagement, which continues to be extremely useful in our decision making. So whether that's tokenism or not, it does acknowledge the fact that, without that representation, things from us and obviously others, things might have gone very differently. So that's the way for us, I think.
Okay.
And of course, there are loads of others, as you know, from Alison Hernandez, which I send round.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So moving on to town council reports. As I said, obviously I've filed an update on some of the events that I've attended and been involved with. So obviously have a read through that in your own time. Any questions, let me know. Reports from outside bodies, haven't we've got any tonight?
I'll do a quick update of the town council, please. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our staff have very cleverly changed the website around and reorganised the way the news is presented, which rather than sort of haphazard in news or possibly events, there's now a section where you can look at DCC news, TDC news, police news, and it's all under a link. There is a banner on the front page, but I just thought I would remind people that now it's a lot easier to find the news in those quarters much more quickly, actually on the website. I haven't checked it on the app, but I mean, it's not that difficult the best of times, so I should imagine it would mirror that. But just so that people know there's a different arrangement now for finding the news, hopefully more efficiently.
Is that going to be made public?
There's a banner on the website on the front page that says that.
Okay. And if there was going to be a little article about it, you could.
Well, I
paper or something.
Terrell will almost certainly do it.
I think
It's
it
a
would be
wavelength.
helpful.
Yeah.
Only needs to be very short,
Yeah,
you know. Okay, thank you. Right, the next item is to receive and note the youth council minutes from the December 2nd meeting, which councillor Chiswell and I attended. These are just to obviously note. There is a plan for our youth council members to have a meet and greet. And now the days has gone right out of my head, so I'm looking at my colleague here on my right, which we will be publicising. The plan is that it will be in a triangle, so that obviously the members of the community can come and meet our youth councillors, and they can talk to you about all their aspirations and their plans. It's the 28th of March, and then they have lots of plentiful ideas as well. So there'll be an Easter project coming out as well, which we'll be providing more information about. They are a great bunch, and it's an absolute pleasure working with them so far. Okay. Right. So moving on. We've got apologies for absence. I've had an email from Councillor Lloyd, so we can note that. I think you'll say a compliment. We've got the declarations of interest. I've got none received, and dispensations, none received. Okay.
Madam Mayor, can we have item 17 debated now? Because I believe the general public are here to listen to item 17, Harrington Homes looking to take away section 106 requirements. We can debate that now. I would be, I think, helpful to the public.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, no. We've got that's why we've got another motion with members of the public here for. So I think I'd like to deal with that one first, as it's in the order. So I think what we need to do firstly is we need to suspend standing orders to allow. So can I have a proposal for that? Thank you, Councillor Cripps. And can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Jack Nassau, you will hand go up first. You can have a show of massive suspense. There's an order to that, please. Thank you. So I'm sorry, I don't know, it's coming from Councillor Jackson.
Yes.
So do you want to
introduce it?
Yeah, if you could introduce, I'm sorry, I haven't got the name, so if you want to do that.
Okay. Thank you. And it's Joanne Janelle who has led me into this interest. Thank you. I'd like to put a motion forward about the 0 Hour Climate and Nature Bill campaign. It's a campaign which is a plan for a new UK law which addresses the root causes of the climate nature crisis. In the current Parliament, Ros Savage MP is the bill sponsor and has published her updated bill is going to on the 22nd of January. Did it on the 22nd of January 2025 with the second reading on the 24th of January. Martin Wrigley has recently joined the cross-party parliamentary caucus to support this bill, and this followed on from his meeting in October with representatives of several local environmental groups, including ACT and the UKA Climate Group. It's open to all councils to sign up to as supporters. It doesn't cost the council anything, but it shows support. And you'll see that DCC Timbridge and Bobby Tracy in our area already does it. It's Holm actually, not Bobby Tracy, but Bobby Tracy might have done it since then. And that's really why I'd like our councillors to do it and would like to propose it, but I don't know enough about it. So I have my colleague here, Joanna, who's 3 minutes of genius and tell them all about it. Thank you very much. I'll stand here. Oh, and I have a seconder.
Madam Mayor, can I first of all thank Councillor Jackson and all of you on the council for allowing me to bring this to the meeting. I'll now outline the main points of the Climate and Nature Bill and explain how the 0 Hour campaign works. The purpose of the 0 Hour campaign is to get small groups of local people in every constituency in the UK to persuade their MP, no matter of which party, to support the bill. In Newton Abbot, this was easy, as our MP Martin Wrigley was very happy to meet in October and then to join the cross-party group of MPs and peers who have declared support. And there are now 250 of them, so support is growing in Parliament and the House of Lords. Briefly, I can't describe the whole bill. The Climate and Nature Bill has three main aims: to make sure that the UK cuts its emissions fairly and fully to stand the best chance of reaching the 1.5 degrees centigrade maximum target, which the previous government signed up to in 2015. That's what people call the Paris Agreement. Second, to make sure that the UK reverses the destruction of nature, and it's proposed to try to accomplish that by 2030. And the third point of the bill is to involve citizens in deciding the fairest way forward by establishing people's assemblies locally. It's very important to note that the bill would create a joined up plan, since the two crises of the climate and nature are so obviously joined up, they need to be referred to in the same bill. And it also aims to ensure that no one and no community is left behind in the transition to a greener economy that we have to have. As Jackie said, versions of the bill have been to Parliament several times since 2020, and the latest version was last January, but it did not progress beyond the second reading. Zero Hour also asked for affiliation from councils, churches and other organisations, as that is all evidence which MPs can then use to strengthen their case in Parliament. The Zero Hour campaign is based on the most up-to-date science available. However, I would like to add a personal plea based not on science, but on morality. For me, the protection of the climate and nature is beyond party politics, and it's beyond science. We humans have been gifted a unique planet on which to thrive, and I believe we have a moral duty to look after it much better than we have been. So to conclude, what I'm asking is that you, councillors, support the proposal for this council to follow others in this area and sign up as a supporter of Zero Hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanne.
2 minutes, 56 seconds. Hold on.
Good.
Yes.
Second.
So, council, first of all, I suppose, does any of the other councillors have any comments or questions? Yes, councillor Cripps.
Yeah, I was just like to know what are the implications of this council in signing up for this?
As far as
Are
I
there any implications?
As far as I know, there are no financial implications at all, which is an important thing. We don't have a lot of money, so let's be honest. So it's a moral implication. The moral implication, what Joanne said, is that if we are all people who care about our world, then we ought to care about this bill, because it's trying to put back what people have been losing over the last few years. Really, you know, the more you hear about this bit of the climate change has been dropped, and it's been dropped because some company or others making a lot of money by dropping it. We need to make sure that our council says, no, we go with this because it's important, and because it's, as Joanne said, I think she said it really well, it's morally important. So it's a moral thing. It's not a money thing.
So, what is it you're actually asking for, Councillor Jackson? Is it to sign a letter? Is it to send an email? Is it to sign a?
You go onto the website and you just add a council that supports it. It's very easy to do. There's a link in it that
And are you proposing?
proposing that we add Children's Council onto that site, please.
Okay. Anything from the side of the desk?
It's really means we can't declare the thing.
It's really what I'm actually asking for us to actually do, in the sense that we know what we're doing. So if somebody's got to do something, we've recorded.
I'm asking the clerk to sign this off and add up.
Okay, so you've proposed that. Councillor Page has seconded it. Can we have a show of hands for this motion, please? It's like the whole house, wasn't it? Yeah, thank you. And thank you very much, Joanna, and the team for bringing it to our attention. Thank you.
Which will may I ask that we deal with the next motion, item 17.
I've pasted councillor Cox. Let me get this one first. Share with France.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so councillor Cox has proposed that item 17, which is the notice of motion for objection to section 106 modification. We deal with that now, so we bring that in before our next item. I think I propose to have a second. Councillor Roger, yeah? Okay. So councillor Cox, seconded by councillor Rudge. I can have a show of hands for us to deal with it. So that's a four. Any against? I presume you're abstaining, are you?
I am, because I have a feeling it says in standing orders you can't do this, but I haven't got a copy of standing orders here.
I
And I'm
can.
not prepared to fight anymore.
No, I can. Yes. We're dealing with motions. Let's deal with the motions, and then anyone who then has to leave, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with the rest of the agenda. So let's deal with this then. Okay. Okay, all right, I've got the motion here. Okay, actually, before we just do that, Councillor Fox, again, I will refer you to my earlier comments about motions that go onto our agenda. I will be speaking to you after this meeting, please, about the earlier comments, so please do not leave until we have that conversation.
Please.
Well, I'm asking you publicly to say that I just a quick chat to me about that so we can clarify information that is said to have been received or obtained.
We're not doing
All right.
it public. We're not doing it public.
I'm happy to, but you may want to. Well, if you're happy to, I'm very, I've given you an opportunity to have a conversation with me about it, so we could deal with this in a gentlemanly way. Okay. So what I am seeking from you, because I am very clear, is I would ask staff to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. A full explanation of why you have told. All right. It's precisely that. We're talking about motions, right? And this will be relevant to this motion because, again, it's information you are telling to people outside of this council that items cannot go onto the agenda, right? As a result of what you say is our town clerk rejecting those items on the spurious code of conduct grounds, which you know is absolutely not the case. And it does feed into this because, again, you are putting in motions where you've not even had the courtesy to discuss with two members of your own party either in relation to this motion. So it's also, it all ties into difficult behaviours I keep having to address, and I don't like having to do it, Councillor Cox. So, like I said,
Who's not approved this?
sorry.
Who has not approved this?
Well, I know that you have wanted this on the agenda. It's on the agenda, but you have also, in an email, said that items for our agendas are never put onto this. Because it's here. It's in the email. It's your idea.
I know that.
It's your email, and I have the response from legal. Now,
From
anyway,
legal.
so I
But that's not
appreciate
this
a
motion.
conversation with you afterwards, please. So in relation to this particular motion, I am going to ask you this question because it is important as it's raised publicly on the Facebook entry relating to it. So Firstly, I would like to know why you have not had any discussion with me as a member of the local Lib Dem party, or indeed Councillor Williams over there, who's also a member of the local Lib Dem party. But yet you've also had discussions with the other members of the local Lib Dem party to bring this motion to the table.
You were included in the emails?
There was absolutely no emails. So if you say there's emails, then I'm asking you publicly now to provide every copy of them, because they have not they have not had any emails sent. This is important, Councillor Cox. I'll tell you why it's important. Because one of the questions that was asked to you publicly was, there are 7 members, 7 Lib Dem councillors that sit at this table. Why have only 5 put their names to the motion, and why have only 5 responded to it? Now, we've not. That's absolutely the case. You're spurious language you are saying. And the difficulty is, and I want to make that public, because 2 of them were not even notified at all of this motion, or indeed of what was happening and what you were proposing to do. And that is important, because I do not want members that are sitting here in front of me tonight, or watching on that telephone, on the television screen here, thinking that 2 members of the current Lib Dem party, or this one is a Teignbridge councillor, I am obviously the current chair and councillor, that we do not care about what is going on in our community, or indeed in relation to this motion. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Let me say, because you've made accusations. You've made serious accusations.
You know accusation. I'm telling you what is factually true, Councillor Cox. You have not encouraged. So people here need to know that neither myself or indeed Councillor Williams there knew anything at all about this motion until we saw it on a Facebook page. That is really important, because you've got a motion now with 5 others, all right? And I don't want them thinking we didn't care, because I can tell you nothing we've heard from the truth. Now, getting on to your motion, let me answer that accusation. All six members who are Liberal Democrats members were advised of this motion after they agreed. I have asked
and you did not reply.
I have asked you to, you can send me all of the emails.
I'll send you the email.
Thank you very much. Now let's move on to it.
No, you don't want to hear what I've got to say, because I'm contradicting
your emails. No, you can prove
what you said.
I'm not going any further with it. I've told you. I just want also.
Has anyone got a copy of the email I sent you?
Anyway. It might be because perhaps if you're not sending it to or from town council emails, then that's why I'm not seeing it. All right. So if you're sending any emails that is not coming to my town council email address or from your town council email address, and perhaps that's why it's lost. It may be lost in the ether of IT. I don't know. What I'm making clear, and it's actually stated, those emails were not received. Now let's move it on, because I don't want to keep our members waiting when we need to discuss this clearly. So, anyway, so the motion. So, what is it you're actually asking to do? What is a robust objection? What is your objection? What are you wanting this town council to do?
I want this town council to write to Teignbridge District Council Planning Department saying it wishes to object to all the removal of the Section 106 obligations entered into regarding the site that is known as T3.
And I mean, like I said, I query why it's been brought to town council when town council has no powers at all. We are merely advisory when it comes to planning. We have absolutely no legal sort of obligation in that sense.
I've made that clear. But we do speak for the people of Teignbridge.
We do speak,
and we should speak for the Teignbridge.
And we should.
And oppose this Section 106.
But you're asking councillors to speak when they have actually no legal power to do that. We as a planning department, planning team, planning committee are advisory only. I mean,
This is they're not.
no, but generally, I know. But generally,
So
I'm surprised.
Councillor Williams, I've got popped up on my Facebook page today 8 years ago. Councillor Williams made a statement about this.
That's 8 years ago.
That's 8 years ago, and that's about TE3. So TE3, we had a special meeting of this town council
But
about
that's-
TE3.
We're not talking about what happened 8 years ago. We're talking about information now, councillor Cox.
Well, it's all
I
to
just-
do, all interconnected.
So I also, I mean, I have a duty also to raise some issues, right? I don't understand why it's on tonight's agenda here for a town council who actually have no authority over planning decisions made by TDC. And yet it's not even on TDC's agenda for their meeting on Thursday. So
That's because-
surely you should be galvanising your district councillors to be challenging. Surely, I mean,
Do you understand planning?
yes,
Because
and I know, yes.
councillors
I
cannot.
don't,
So district councillors cannot have any say on removal of 106, and that's the big issue with me, because we can approve,
neither,
we can approve,
you're vice chair of
we
planning.
can approve. I voted against. I put forward the motion against TE3 in May 2014, and the subsequent meeting that was deferred. Then the subsequent meeting was it was 5 to 15. I opposed that. Now people said then that because of this section 106s, it wasn't, women are in saying, but in the end, Timothy's going to get a lot out of it. And if they've taken all the section 106s away, it shows a completely different application. But of course, we haven't got any votes on this. District councillors can't vote in, district councillors can't be informed. In fact, I've had to argue that as a ward member, I should be informed about what's going on. So this town council can speak on behalf of Timber, saying we want those section 106s kept. Remember, we did our own transport survey, because we challenged the survey done by Devon County Council. We also challenged the dates, because there was about 3 days difference, because they didn't they were given planning permission. They had so many that had to do with it. 1 year they had to submit a detailed planning application. They did it, but we argued that, I think, because from the date of the date that the committee made the ruling to the date they claimed that they'd got the letter. So we argued that we lost that. But so it's not true to say this town council hasn't been very much involved in this. And
I'm not saying it's
this
not
is
being
it.
involved, I'm just
Very
saying,
much
what I'm saying
impacted.
is what can we, as a body, as individual councils, of course we can. But
Well, just like the motion that Jackie
I just don't-
forward.
I just don't get why-
It's a moral thing, and it will have some impact. Will have some impact.
Well,
Cambridge will look at it, I hope. Anyway,
well, there's looking and just with it. Anyway, councillors, any comments and additions or notations, please? Yes, councillor.
I don't think anybody would challenge the fact that
No.
removal of the section 106 is our problem. However, there is a bigger picture to actually consider here. I've got the letter that the planning consultants working for Harrington Homes sent in, which says in great detail the fact that they have hit all sorts of technical problems on the site that have cost them shed loads of money, and all sorts of other bits and pieces that have happened over time, and that the site is likely to be stopped in December because they can't continue and they see no way of continuing unless there is the removal of the section 106 obligations. If you remove those section 106 obligations, I'm not at all clear or convinced that that will enable that site to go forward. And I think that the tenure, get there in a minute, the tone of the note that we sent to Cambridge said we are extremely concerned that this contractor is trying to renege on its section 106 deal. And we would hope that they would fight our corner and try to get the best deal possible for a resolution and progression of development of the site. Because having it sat there going idle for years with 20 homes out of 225 being built, now known technical difficulties because of the water, the gradient, all sorts of things that have been going wrong. I am not convinced this developer really knew the challenge that they were taking on, have been caught out not only by the terrain, but actually by the finances involved in all of this, and the fact that the construction costs, as we found to our cost, the inflation on construction costs was 16% last year it was running at, which makes a huge difference. I think what we all want is resolution of the site. And I think the only thing we can ask Teambridge to do is to get us as good a deal as possible, in terms of they may have to waive the Section 106 agreement, because if you read this letter from Stantec, the company is, there doesn't seem to be a way forward, because there's no guarantee that the whole financing of the thing seems to have been very, how can I put it, hit and miss. And I'm not convinced that even with the Section 106s removed, they will have the money to go forward. And on that basis, I would also suggest that we ask that they require a bond from the developer, so that if everything does go horribly wrong, we have actually some money to try and put it right.
Okay.
So that
Anyone else? Sorry, yes, Councillor Roche.
I believe that Jackie, Councillor Jackson raised.
It was only to say really that we discussed it with the planning, and to say that, you know, it is really frustrating being advisory to Timbridge, because we know that we don't want to have a development that promises one thing and does something else. And that's what's happened here. But with Atkins information, which you have and we don't have, we have listened, you know, we have discussed it, and you talked about that we would be wanting to say no to cutting off the social housing bit.
My question would be, firstly, how many affordable homes were actually identified in this project? I obviously don't have that information.
25%.
25%. But I can hear what Councillor Atkins is saying, that the company is saying, we are in this terrible situation, we can't afford to go forward. Nonetheless, they did make a commitment to the community, and therefore I do think it isn't unreasonable that we actually say we at least try and save some of the affordable houses, because we are fully aware of the reason for the affordable housing is that we are in an area where people are low paid, but also the idea is that people who work in health and essential industries should be able to afford housing. So we do need to, I think, you know, that the impression I've got is they're saying, oh, we're going to shelve them up. I'm maybe being very cynical and saying, well, I don't know how right this person needs to save something, as you said, Councillor Atkins, the best deal we can get. I don't think it's acceptable that they should be saying, we've had this deal, that 25%, we're not doing anything anymore.
Yeah, if we ask Teambridge to, and we're asking Teambridge to do this, it becomes a new developer will take on the site, I'm guessing, and they will negotiate with Teambridge so they can gain something from that. I don't think, to be honest with you, Hannon Homes have been exactly loved by them. And obviously people are not going to like what's going to happen there. But there have been, I've had several incidents where I've had to call, get the police to discuss about the highways issues, as the county councillor. So I don't think we shouldn't. So I do think we should pass this motion. I think we should speak on behalf of the people of Timber who are totally opposed to anyone Section 106 for Grimmers. I said in 2014, it's a bad site. It's going to be a challenging site because that used to be Timber's water supply. You know, Horden is effectively like a giant sponge, and there's springs appearing all there. And where they have dumped the earth and the spoil next to that poor chap's house in Vinfarm Lane is right on top of where the Bullford Farms well was. They don't realise Bullford Farm exists. They've no idea. They thought it was the house. The farm, of course, gave its name to the house, but Bullford is in the Bubble and it's the ford of the river. And they didn't realise there's a river that leads down to the Fitton Brook. So it's actually we should support this motion. We should hope that Cambridge take notice of what we said. And I don't think otherwise we are supporting bad developers getting out of their obligations.
Okay, Councillor. So then, with your objection, your motion, what is the wording that you would want to be using? Because I think that's the only thing that's missing from this motion, the actual wordings that you would want to be pushing forward for us to vote on.
Timoth Town Council results.
Yeah,
There's the wording.
to what? So we need to be really specific, so we record it. So the wording that you would want
Is written there.
but it's not there. What you've got it in 3 parts. You've got to formally submit a robust objection to Cambridge District Council, demanding that the refusal of application, etc. To assert that any developer viability claims must be subject to independent, transparent scrutiny to prevent the erosion of public benefit. I think I should also say public purse. To notify the ward members and the Cambridge Planning Department of the council view these obligations as non-negotiable requirements to sustainable development. So they are sort of the parameters of what you want to say, but what we haven't got is specific wording. I think it would be helpful if you could set that out. Before you do that, whilst you think on that point,
Specific wording.
hang on, it's not. We need to set out what the wording is that you would want us to be voting on, because it also is to go in any form of letter. The other thing I just want to check before you go, whilst you're thinking on that, obviously councillors Comer, Jackman, Lloyd and Rudge have endorsed and signed up to this motion. I know Councillor Lloyd is not here. Can I just check with the remainder that you are still your motion that you signed?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give that some thought. It may well be, Councillor Potts, that you maybe take heed of maybe perhaps.
Sorry, Madam Mayor,
Someone
you're trying to
wants
change.
No,
You're trying
I'm
to
not.
change my motion.
I'm not changing your
Clearly
motion.
stated. What
I just want us to know what the wording is. that
The
you want
wording,
to
the wording is there.
What?
Honestly, you want to check. You want to change.
I'm not changing your motion. You are submitting to us today.
Yeah.
That you would like this council to submit a robust objection. If that is what we're all agreeing to, in a way, we'll do a vote in a moment, all right? We need to know the specific wording that you want to put. Which is that objection?
Sure,
You can't just object.
Well,
it's your motion. It's your motion, Councillor Cox, therefore what is your wording? Now, you may want to take heed of Councillor Atkins tentatively suggested. Look, I'm not being difficult. You may sound pedantic. I'm not being difficult. You might sound pedantic, but these are the things we have to do so they're recorded properly. And then you can be clear on what it is. And as you quite right, have pointed out, any future developer or councillor, when it's another team looking at it, will know exactly what we were wanting and what we meant when we were discussing this as at today. So I'm only asking that we are clear, just clear on the wording of any objection that might be going forward to TDC, where the clerk and his team is clear. That way it's then put in any documentation that is then disseminated. That is what I'm asking. It is not changing your motion in any shape or form, Councillor, but I'm just being clear on the wording that is to be used. I think so. I just want you to be
objects to planning permission 250167//MOD.
Yeah.
Objects there, and that's it.
Okay. No. I'm
wishes to submit that on the planning portal.
Planning permission 250167//MOD.
Okay, sorry, councillor Atkins.
I suspect I want to ask for an amendment in that I think it should at least say, after that objection, something along the lines of what the second bit is, to make sure that any developer viability claims must be investigated by somebody independent.
Yes. Yeah.
And that the district council uses its skills and powers in mediation to resolve the best possible deal that it can get, including, if possible, some retention of social housing. Because quite frankly, I don't understand what the third one says or why it's there. To notify the ward members and Teignbridge Planning Department that the council views these obligations as non-negotiable. Well, we can't demand that they be non-negotiable. We can't demand anything. And that they're non-negotiable requirements for sustainable development, sent me to Mr. Google to find out what sustainable development actually means. Because I looked at that and thought, well, I don't even know what that actually means, that sentence.
It's in the planning law.
But what it says is it meets present needs without compromising future generations' ability to meet their own needs, balancing economic growth, social well-being and environmental protection. Well, none of that is within our power to request as such, because it's the higher authority, the planning, I'll sat down again. The higher authority is Teignbridge as the planning authority, and we need to ask them to get the best deal for our town that they can. We can't demand anything and sit there and say it's non-negotiable. I mean, they can just ignore it in one hit. The least you can do is be courteous about actually saying, can you please try and negotiate something for us that will enable the sites to continue in some level of development that will also provide some social housing. Still.
Okay, so you're making an amendment to this motion?
Yes, along those lines. I mean, I'll give you some exact wording, but it's along those lines that if we wish to make a robust objection, that we would like to be assured that any viability claims made by the developer have to be independently investigated, and that we rely upon our district council colleagues to achieve the best solution possible for the resolution of the difficulties on the site, including at least some level of social housing. Affordable housing, beg your pardon, please.
Councillor Phipps, you had your hand up.
Yeah, it was nice to see this coming years ago. Also, we need to make sure that Harrington Homes haven't got a pot of money and all of a sudden they're thinking, oh, do you know what, this project's not working out very profitable, so we'll say we're skint and we can't do this and we can't do that. So we really need some consultation with them and look into their finances to see, I don't know if that's beyond our remit here, but we've got to make sure they're not trying to pull the wool over our eyes and they've got a few million quid stashed away in the bank and all of a sudden they're saying we can't afford to do this, we can't meet our obligations. So a consultation to find out, looking into their finances really needs to be undertaken as well, not by us, but maybe by Teignbridge. I fear it's all a little bit too late. We've shut the gate after the horse is bolted. But we need to do what we can for our community because it is a mess. And we need to try and sort something out and stop lock horns and hang all our heads together and try and do something for our community.
Which is the importance of making sure that we're clear on the wording.
Exactly. Yeah, we need.
So if we as a body are going to put something to district about this, then we need to make sure that we're clear. So I think it's important for many reasons.
Yes.
So we all have an understanding of what we're voting on. We also all agree with the wording that is to be used.
Yeah.
It's robust. The community themselves can see and understand that wording as well. So merely just, I think my concern, and I wasn't being difficult, that's why it's just really just to say, refuse it, I think we just need to be, it's
I
important
think
going
we
forward.
need to get our heads
It was
together and
really-
put together a proper objection.
And we
No
can,
disrespect, councillor Cox, but something a little bit more robust and a
we
bit
can
more to the point. Thank you.
Mr. Clark, do you have any comments?
Yes, yes.
Hang on.
Yes, Chair. I think a couple of things. Because this is a modification, it won't come to your planning department because we're not in the process. We're not a consultee. We're a consultee of the original. We have checked that. I see there is a fear if we make a public statement as a council, it could become litigious. So the words are key.
Yeah.
And I and my people will need the words from you that are to be used. They should have been with the notice of motion, quite frankly. But I need the words in black and white, and that is what we will send to Team because that is your decision.
Right.
Anyway, so
With plan, you can only forward refusal or acceptance. If there's no, it's not open for negotiation. We either got to oppose it or support it. And that's what we've got to
Councillor
do.
Potts, that is what we are looking to do. Now, councillor Atkins has made an amendment to your motion.
She's looking to,
Right.
with due respect to the councillor,
So there is an
she's
amendment.
looking to change, make a new situation. You can either refuse it or accept it. There's no halfway house. So when we have a planning committee, if we have a planning application, you see that as set out or not. And really, that's the problem. We can just, and I think we should just say no. And I don't think we can be accused of litigation because, of course, Devon County Council has said it's not going to support the road, take money taken away. The biodiversity officer has said she doesn't believe that it should be taken away. And the housing officer has said he wants the house to get us 25% housing. So it's
Okay.
When they took the site on us, Councillor Phipps said when they took the site on, they should have realised that it was a challenging site and there was a lot of problems.
Let me just go around the table. Councillor Coleman.
I would like to second Atkins' amendment on that. Purely, I know we're advisory in timber, but at the same time, if we had something like that, at least it shows people this is what we expect, this is what we're looking for in timber, rather than just straight out objection to it. It's some idea. If someone comes in and buys a site in the future, they can look back and go, "Look, we've got to go through timber from Zingrich. We know roughly what they're looking for before we even throw money on the table." You know what you're going into before you buy a site.
Do you agree that if this motion is supported by the town council, that we should be clearer and specific in relation to the words you're going to use?
Yeah.
So it is clear.
Yeah.
Both for, for TDC, for developer, for anyone looking at it.
Yeah.
And quite rightly, in the event that things step into a forum, shape and form, which, saying all that. I'm coming, yes, councillor Bowden.
Thanks, gentleman from the public. Wanted to ask a question. Yeah, I believe you can't do it.
I can't do that unless we, let me just deal with, for that one's really, let me just have the councillors first, and then I'll. Councillor. Yes, councillor Hodge, quickly, because you have spoken on this, so it was.
I did some reading online about this situation where other organisations, other businesses have decided to fall on the affordable housing, social housing. And the issue was that it was described as this was a loophole. And I share the fact that if we have people, businesses who can find a loophole, we do need to be very robust and very clear about what we're asking and what we're saying, and the wording is key. So I do share that view that we have to be very, very clear. So there's no questions about this. And it may well be that we've raised this and we realise that people with creative experience and ability to write motions, maybe we need to be getting a team together to put forward a proposal. Or if we can't come up with one this evening.
Well, I think the wording is fairly straightforward to deal with, because obviously councillor Atkins has put forward an element of wording. I've made a note of some as well to make sure we can deal with that when it's.
Let's just repeat that.
Yeah, we'll deal with that in a moment. First of all, councillor Chapman.
Thank you, Chair. I can first say that I find it very difficult to listen when people are speaking over each other. And I think speaking to quite a lot of people, it's a bit heated. And just want to put that out there to start off with. And so we can all understand crystal clear. A resident has passed me this. I've got here 122 residents have submitted objections to DDC. I've now opened a public consultation, writing comments on the section 106 applications with a deadline of the 30th. Okay, thank you.
Can I quote you something else from the letter? From the
Yes, and then we're going to move on.
They have said, this is the people acting on behalf of the communities. The Tingbridge Local Plan 2033 under policy WE2 affordable housing site targets sets the required targets for affordable housing. It goes on to state that the provision of affordable housing is a high priority in considering planning applications. However, if independently verified evidence is submitted, which proves that the affordable housing targets renders the site undeliverable, a reduced level of provision or other alterations to the site sufficient to bring it forward will be negotiated. But I think I may be right or wrong on this. I think that possibly means before the site comes forward for development. I think that's at the original planning permission time. But I mean, they are using that. The supporting text for this policy provides guidance for situations where it's not possible to deliver affordable housing in line with policy requirements, and it allows for the financial viability of the site to be assessed. It states that where a developer can prove that a site is unviable with the targets, this is likely to be where the site is subject to significant costs, which are exceptional to that site, and don't we know, and which reduce the financial viability of the development. The council will then consider whether changes to the proposals are necessary in the interests of delivering appropriate development. If the affordable housing proportion delivered is below the council's target on sites of more than 100 dwellings, the council will reassess financial viability every 3 years. So I'm out of my depth here in terms of whether this applies to now or original. But I mean, that's not for us to debate anyway. It's down to making sure that Tingbridge know we are asking them, and I say again, to get the best deal they can, having independently investigated the finances, the financial statement that's supposed to be attached to this, which it isn't, upon which they have made their application to say we can't deliver this unless you let us off the section 106. Nobody wants to do that. By the same token, as I said in my original statement, we need to try and get the best resolution for something on that site. Otherwise, it's going to sit there stalled, getting vandalised, with possible more and more difficulties happening with drainage because it's not complete. We need Tingbridge to give us some assurances that they will, in my jargon, hold their feet to the fire to make sure that we can actually rely on any resolution that comes forward will be safe and the best that they can get within the planning law. And I think that's the issue that we have to keep bearing in mind. Planning law is very strange. And as you say, it could be litigious, so it needs to be precise. But maybe, perhaps instead of working out a resolution, somebody might go and see the head of planning. I mean, that's always a possibility, to go and see what they can actually do for us, because we're all in the dark in terms of what they might be able to achieve on our behalf. But we could certainly make a strenuous objection to the fact that the 106 conditions are removed, but would see in the larger scheme of things that, you know, some resolution has to be come to and some concessions may have to be made.
Thank you. Okay. So, you've obviously proposed an amendment to the motions that we have,
Yeah, and Dan seconded that.
and second that.
Can I have a show of hands on that?
Can I ask you personally, I think we need to, so all shout out, please. What we need to do is just refresh on what it is that you're proposing before we do a full vote, so everyone is clear.
I saw you typing. Did you?
I was typing a little bit. I was doing some of my own notes, but
Do you want me to go again?
well, if you it's your amendment.
Right. So this town council resolves to formally submit a robust objection to Teignbridge District Council, requesting rather than demanding the refusal of application, whatever. It is, let's go for something slightly different.
Keep it succinct.
It is acknowledged that a speedy resolution needs to be obtained between all parties, and hope that Teignbridge will negotiate. Sorry? Yes, I ask instead of hope, and we ask that Teignbridge will negotiate the best resolution possible for the site to be completed, be that some concession on affordable housing targets. Be that with some concession on affordable housing targets. But they're the ones that are going to be doing the negotiation. They have all the cards in their hands to play. So it's difficult to come up with words that describe those cards. I think that's the best I can do.
Okay.
So are you still happy with that, Dan?
Yeah, I am. Yes. I mean,
That's the amendment.
advisory.
That's the amendment. So
Sorry, you're not advisory on.
yeah.
No, I mean.
Okay,
the plan-
so shout out.
So could I ask you to repeat that amendment again? Sorry, as you can type it.
I haven't typed that at all.
No, and I haven't written it, so actually.
Yeah, my concerns are,
But-
sorry, is that it doesn't, we don't actually stick, to me, it doesn't appear that we are stipulating about the removal of the 106. I didn't hear that being mentioned, is it? Unless that comes under a heading.
No, so
There was a robust objection.
a
to
robust
the removal.
objection to Teignbridge District Council. Right, you were saying about
The application is actually asking for the removal of the section 106 things. So if we are asking them to refuse the application for that refusal, that's where it is. It's not in one syllable, but it's there. And then I picked it up at the end by saying to try and negotiate best solution to move things forwards, including possibly some concession on affordable housing targets within that. Okay.
That's your proposal. Councillor Comer has seconded that amendment. Is there a vote for that?
I'll go with that.
For any against? Any abstentions? Hang on. So then you need to.
So you can vote on that, and as now the substantive motion.
That's non-substantive.
So don't make me try and make it up again.
Thanks. And notes anyway.
Well, you've got it. off the
We will take the
machine.
words from the text.
Yes, absolutely.
Then that will be, you get 40, that is a,
So that is now the substantive motion.
so. Show me something.
Well,
No, you didn't. This is now the substantive motion.
Yeah, no, okay. So we need to do another vote, we need a proposal.
so I propose that that motion be accepted
Yeah.
and moved forward as the
And then show how.
Does it need to be seconded?
ended.
Done that, done that.
So we've got the vote. Just hold that again, please. 2, 3.
So that's all.
So,
So, any against? I just think because, your hand up in mind, I think it's the person. Okay.
Against, well, no, those abstaining.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I'm abstaining as well, Jack.
You're abstaining, but. Oh,
okay.
All right,
Yep.
okay. So we'll get that letter prepared and,
Yeah, we will take it verbatim
okay.
from the tape.
Chair, what was the vote? Yeah, sorry, no, I abstained.
So there's the amendment
Yeah, well, that last one.
and then we've just done the substantive votes.
Before, the abstain.
8, 4, 2 abstain.
Okay, thank you.
But we'll get that letter off. We'll circulate, we'll circulate that.
We will get it subscribed off the tape. GPQ.
Well, hopefully that's. Deals with that. Yeah, we're doing. Right, budget. Thanks for coming anyway.
Sorry.
Does anybody need? Have a quick 5-minute break. Not on the break, but of course, you know, you're not serious. We're just having a 5-minute break. If anyone does need 5 minutes, the recording is still going on.
Surely, we can use.
We should have, yes.
There is no.
And actually, FYI, standing order 10A, VI allows you to move items on the agenda during the meeting.
thank you. You had seen it, but I thought they were supposed to give 2 to 3 days. notice.
No,
From what I can see, they do that.
During the meeting.
Right.
Shall we? So they will do that. They've got the money. So we can't investigate. It's still offers.
Well, I like your question, it's a good person context. Let's look for that.
That's because they must be looking for.
The letter that I found,
Please remember, we are live, so.
There you go.
I downloaded from the public website.
Proposed brackets to
Then, when I went back, I couldn't actually find it. It said tree colour access.
You know what?
That's what I'll be doing. All the contractors will listen.
Well, the contractors are probably going.
Petition looks interesting.
Say again?
That petition that Mike mentioned, I couldn't find that on the TV report.
Yeah, I should do it.
I'm not saying I know where to find it.
Refuse to do it. Their vans are in there now.
But the fact is.
Which now there's a policy on receiving petitions.
Yes, Mike was saying they.
Yes, I know that from
They've been subjected to the petition, but I'd be curious to see where that is.
Right.
They got a project now. Every. They should have been.
Yeah, there was a terrible situation.
Should have done windows.
This is all built.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
It's a bigger.
You know that thing,
Get some
that
resolution.
should go up there,
That's
so
not
like this.
It's
I
just
walk
lit.
around the side up there.
The damage is-
I'm walking around the side there.
Well, five minutes.
Best thing you can do is-
Yeah.
Little thing, it's something we did.
Just unbelievable.
Going pirate day, eh? All he needs is a parrot.
I've got seagulls, and that's parents, that's seagulls.
Right, okay, back on. Right, let's. Okay. So. Next item on the agenda, so we're now item 12 of your agenda, please. And it's your pages 19 to 56. Budget approval, a wonderful time of year. So we held two opportunities for councillors to contribute to the budget setting process, and obviously to speak to the clerk and view the draft budget proposed at the informal meetings that we held. I appreciate not everyone could make it for varying reasons. But council tonight is being asked to resolve to agree the budget as set out in the attachment that you have received. If anyone has any particular issues about that or clarification, then I'm sure, yes, look at that. Otherwise, I'll go to the proposal. Just check. Councillors, a question, are you raising? No, second. Yeah, no, I was just. So, Councillor Chester, do you have a question, Councillor Chapman, or you look like you're pondering something?
I was, but I was chaired, but
Yeah.
Councillor Cohen has just pointed out to me that it is correct.
Okay. Okay, that's my question. Thank you, Councillor Comer. I'll get you on finance committee now. So Councillor Chester has proposed, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Do we have a show of hands? So that's four. Left, so left for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Nine.
Would you like to ask for a name vote? Yes, isn't it?
It is
No.
now, it is now. Any against?
I'm not against, I'm abstaining because I was an abstaining either of the meetings, so I just.
Councillor, got your abstaining as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 9, 4 and 2 abstain.
Yeah. So next item, precept approval. Council is asked to resolve to agree the budget as set out below and in the attachment. You'll see the figures set out there in item 30. Do you want to expand on anything? Or
Basically, that's the number, sorry, that's the number that comes out of the budget you've just passed, which was a straight inflationary increase of 3.6%, because that's what the government currently deem inflation is running at. And it just details for a band D, that would be £204.40 a year, which is a £13.46 a year increase, which is 26 pence a week for a band D council taxpayer.
Have any buildings been built in Plymouth which would effectively reduce that figure?
yes, I've got some stats. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
quite hard to see behind.
Any buildings, the number of taxable or council taxable buildings increased in Plymouth since last year, which would affect that figure of 26 pence.
That's already included.
That's really
The,
good.
the figure came from Teambridge, and I think from memory, it was about 35,000. So that's already in. So that would be a precept increase of nothing. And to that, it's been added 3.6. But yes, it is included.
So we have a proposal, please. Councillor Comer, seconder. Councillor Atkins. And then can we have a show of hands, please, yeah. You're abstaining, yeah.
So, can make on the.
Okay. Good one.
Yep.
Right, thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Can I just say that, thank you for those presentations, which were very helpful for understanding the budget. I mean, it looks when we just go, yeah, as if we haven't had our heads to the ground looking at it, but we've spent hours and hours. And, you know, our clerk showed us really well where the money was going and what we could use. If we gave that thing up, we could have that much. And you know, we were weighing things up the whole time. So thank you very much, because that made it a lot clearer for me than it has been before.
and then will be a plan for, I think last time we did a sort of pie chart type missive that was disseminated to everybody so they could actually see how that's all broken down and how it works. I think that the feedback from that was actually quite useful. So
Yeah.
we'll make sure that that's done as well, so that, you know, it can be on the website and it can be made public. Hopefully we're going to help everybody understand how to.
Because those of us who are teachers but never really understood maths.
Yeah.
Really great.
No, I get it. Okay, so clerk's report. Okay,
Just like to be Sean seen that by Sean is
please.
giving us congratulations.
Oh, yes, of course, yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's fine.
My report was short, and if you have any questions, which I'm happy to take, I'd like to read, because it's a bit of good news for a change, from Sean Roper, who's our police inspector. Councillor Underhill will be aware that following a couple of smash and grabs, is that the right description? Within town, where many are concerned, a trader, and some emails to and fro between Chamber Police and then ourselves. So what we did was we redeployed all of our redeployable cameras to give some assurance to the areas of the town that were affected and be covered. And in response to those traders' concerns, Sean Roper sent quite a nice email, which is, excuse me, because I'm reading from the phone, Afternoon. I understand the frustration being felt across the business community following the recent break-ins. The safety and security of timber shops and towns are a priority for the council, Chamber of Trade and police. CCTV alone cannot eradicate crime, but it is an essential tool that will help reduce incidents of criminality and significantly increase the public's perception of safety. I want to offer my sincere gratitude and commendation to all involved. And then he says, particularly Ian, the reason I'm reading this, it's not because me, I'm just at the front. The work that Cliff puts in, Jared puts in, and now actually Holly puts in with drawing off footage. We get a lot of requests every week. So when it says me, it isn't me, it's the people behind me. For the immense work that has gone into CCT for Teignmouth. You would be hard pushed to find another coastal town with the CCTV coverage Teignmouth now boasts. The significant investment in this current technology is truly impressive, and there are promising plans to continue. Expanding the town's static coverage to ensure continuous improvements in safety. I appreciate the concerns raised by businesses regarding the placement of the initial mobile CCTV cameras with the preference for mains electric access. The current agreement for the mobile cameras does not involve additional cost to the town council. However, what I can say with absolute confidence is that conversations between Ian and I have been consistently productive and solution focused. Ian shares the collective goal of maximising the impact of these mobile assets. He is also actively reviewing feasibility and costings of securing additional CCTV options. Ian is committed to using the most appropriate camera fixing location to ensure that he can deploy cameras to the exact locations where they are most needed to offer greatest deterrent. But it's not me. I might front it, but it's the people behind me.
Well done.
Good news for a change.
Madam Chair, please.
Yes, yes.
Wearing a different cap now, I'd just like to respond to him and thank him for what he has done with the deployable cameras. As chair of the chamber, I was getting a little bit of flack from members, and he have responded, and I thank him again. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
Right, moving on to the minutes of the meeting of the 9th of December. Hopefully people will have a chance to read them, so we just need to approve, sign and adopt them unless there's any questions or queries. So, Chapman.
The sign free.
I'll put your name down then. Can we have a seconder then, please? Thank you, councillors Jackson and Jackman. Gosh, yes, isn't it? It's like a band. And can we have a show of hands for those, please? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So then we have the minutes of the following committees for adoption, which is the events committee and the planning committee. So the first one. Let's do well, it'd be easier. So events committee 18th of November, planning committee 19th of November 2025, and then the planning committee 10th of December 2025. We'll deal with them on block. It's easier. And then there's a letter attached to one of the minutes. Was that supposed to be in there? Yeah. Okay.
Can I propose as set out?
Yeah, happy to. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Kramer. And then can we have a show of hands, please? We're done. We like nice easy ones, don't we? That okay. And then you found that there. So item 18, jumping. Opportunities for members of the public to address councillors. You want to deal with that?
Yeah.
Well, no.
I put this item on the agenda, councillors, because we in the office get requests from people that would like to talk to full council, but not necessarily about items that would merit being on the agenda. And currently, there isn't particularly a mechanism for that. In other councils not too far away, they provide an opportunity either before the full council meeting or after. I'd say that before is more practicable because the meeting could go on for half an hour, it could be 2.5 hours, and if you're waiting to speak. So what I'm suggesting is that if people wish to speak, you had someone wanted to talk about the church recently, they would simply ask for permission. I will warn you when the agenda goes out that you need to be in at 4:45 or 5:30, depending on how many speakers there are, and we would deal with it in that way. And then if individual councillors felt that whatever had been spoken about needed to get onto the agenda, we could deal with that under the normal process. But I'm just conscious that we need to give some people a voice that they think is currently not there.
Councillor Phipps, you had your hand up first.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think it's a duty of care to listen to our commissioners and hear what they got to say. And, you know, we need to give them that opportunity. And I think before the meeting, we would plan it for like 3 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable. And I think it's a good idea and I'm happy to go with that.
Yes, Councillor Atkins.
I, on the other hand, think slightly differently. I have a telephone which I answer. I have email which I answer, and I answer whenever it rings or whenever the emails come in. I would expect residents to talk to their ward councillor with a view to discussing how to bring this forward to get it onto the council agenda. And I spend a lot of my time, as you all well know, reading up on stuff and doing things, and to actually start adding half an hour on to meetings before or after is difficult when you've got other commitments at Teambridge, often on a Tuesday, and they often run over till 4:05 and they're big meetings. It's just a thing. I think we need to look at our whole communication levels, because on the town website we have individual pictures and individual contacts. There are at least 3 or 4 councillors who don't offer a telephone number. Now, whether that's because it's just not got left off, but can I ask everybody individually to check that they have got their telephone number available, or why they haven't, if they're not prepared to take phone calls. Those people who are not answering emails. As you know, I sent a toilet twinning thing out and I asked for delivery receipts, and it's got to everybody's email box. So it begs the question why people aren't reading their emails, because there are at least 3 or 4 people who maybe haven't had time, but they are usually the repeat offenders who don't respond. Now, if there are issues with our technology, we need to deal with them.
Well, that's a different subject altogether, Councillor.
But I mean,
well, let's bring it back to
if they're saying that they can't,
meetings.
yes,
Emails and telephones are slightly.
but if people can't get you on a stated telephone number and email address, that's probably the frustration that is requiring everybody then to be made available at another time. That's all I'm saying.
Councillor Perrin.
Just going on about phone numbers and that, there's a very good reason that's why I work 12-hour night shifts, and when people phone me during the day, I can't exactly sleep, do a job and everything else. So I tend to work mainly on emails. So just highlight that one. Yeah, you know.
I understand. So, Councillor Jackson, you had your hand
I
up.
did, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm tired.
I mean, the only thing common I think in a way is that sometimes you might want. It's not always, is it, about somebody coming because they need to have a moan about something and they need to spend some time with you in order to work that through. Sometimes it might be within a group coming, one of our local groups coming to give a short presentation or something like that, in which case you want as many councillors, if not all, to be there. So I think that I get with the pressures of time. I'm also conscious that we as a council have also agreed and voted on and adopted our standing our regulations, where we're saying not having meetings over 2.5 hours as maximum. So I'm also have that in thought of my head. So anyway, so Councillor Jackman, you want to say something? Okay, so I'll do that and then come back. I'll go be left. Okay.
Ed who has put quite a few things on Facebook saying about trying to encourage people to come and attend and watch the town council. and see us working with it and get to know us. And I think it'd be helpful for people and education to actually come, and we should be encouraging people to attend the town council meeting, and having half an hour beforehand meet with people. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes. Yes, okay, okay, go on.
You're not going to forget it, would you?
No, I'm pretty
Sure.
sure.
Okay, I'll read that. Well, I think it's a great idea with Clark's Stamp. I think that's good. I agree with Councillor Pitts and our supervisor as well. As you know, I've got businesses and people come into my shop all
Well,
the
everyone's got
time.
commitments.
They
haven't
always got
Everyone's
commitments, stuff. I can understand
Yeah.
where Councillor Atkins is coming from, but people come and see me anytime they want. I think it's a good idea for Clark to put forward. And like we had before, like you said, with the church person coming on, but if that's councillors can attend a little bit earlier to see this. But my only question is to the clerk, how many people would we allow to speak? Obviously, if you've got 10 or 15, it's going to take quite some time. So I'm just my question is to the clerk, how many are we going to?
The demand that we see currently would be less than one person a month. So, you know, I've said notionally sort of 5:30, but that would fit in several groups, so that would be extreme. And the plan would be they ask to speak in advance. So when you get your agenda, you know there's a group that want to speak from 10 to 6 to 6 o'clock. And if there's no groups, it's 6 o'clock. So the numbers are small, but we're not satisfying that demand is the reason I've raised it.
Okay, I'll go for that.
So do we have, sorry, Councillor Jack.
I was thinking when we were talking about, and we are talking about people who want to talk to the whole council. I think there is a place for councillor surgeries, but in my experience in the past, you can sit there every week on a Thursday afternoon and nobody turns up, and it is quite a chunk out of your life if you do that. I mean, it doesn't work. People who are working or sleeping, you know, it's a very difficult thing to balance with your life balance and if people want to talk about things in a longer way, not just bring an issue, but actually they want to talk about something for a long time, then you need to be sitting around and having a natter with them and a cup of tea. And that opportunity is hard to provide.
Well, these type of things will give you the initial connections.
Yeah.
And then you take, you run it then going on as you see it. Right, that's one, and then we will.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, as I said before. And I don't think we should be coming here at 5:30. If we're going to only have.
All right, 5 o'clock then.
No, I think we should carry on at 6 o'clock to start the meeting off, and so that we don't have to roll up, all of us don't have to roll up half an hour early to speak to somebody that might want to be here and might turn up and might not. We'll start the meeting at 6 o'clock. And if there's somebody who wants to speak and they've filled up, yeah, we can link them on from 6 o'clock. And then it'll just push our meeting back 3 or 5 minutes. Otherwise, we've all got to turn up half an hour early, you know. But I think you just kick off from 6 o'clock and play it by ear from there.
Especially when the summer season comes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sensible way to do it.
Which is the problem still.
Well, I'll second Robert proposal.
Where's the? It's your.
No, I can't push motion.
Well, I mean, it's
You know,
right now, can't we?
It's not.
No, it's not, so it's not.
So it's just about doing it.
So, yeah. Are you proposing then?
Yeah.
I'll second.
So we'll start this meeting. We'll start that for the next meeting.
If we have anybody.
If we have anyone.
Yeah.
But that is vote on it. Yeah, we'll have a.
Yeah, you can vote.
We've got a proposal in a second one. And then show hands.
I think we should be starting at 46.
But if you look,
Well, the reality is
you want to
this.
try and get something quick.
But the reality is this, isn't it? It always happens. There's nothing to stop you getting here earlier anyway. And even if you were to tell somebody to come for 6 o'clock, most people will turn up early and want to in. So if you're here at 10 to 6 and somebody's here and you want to stop, we can crack on with that.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't
They have to book.
But yeah, but it's just that we know that they're coming. I think that's the key. The time, I think, is not well, is a movable feast. Like Right, okay, you've got all that one down?
Thank you.
Right. Let's see. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to keep track of them. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll have to turn off the, so I need to vote again.
Wait, till.
Because you're coming now, don't you?
Well, we haven't done the votes to kick you out at the moment, so if you want to, we'll do that.
Sorry. Don't need a vote to be on the table. Yeah.
Go back to the pub.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
And is mine shut the door on?
It's off.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, so we want to go to pass two. Alright. So items which may be taken in the absence of public and press on grounds that exempt information may be disclosed as defined in the Local Government Act 1972 and or the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960. Exclusion of press and public. Members are recommended to approve the following resolution. That in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, press and public be excluded from the meeting for the duration of the following items on the basis that the information to be disclosed would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be transacted. So I'm asking for firstly a proposal that we go to part
Is the
two.
camera switched off?
Yes, it will be once we've done the vote. So, proposer, please, and seconder, and a show of hands, please, to move into part two. It's fine, yeah.
That's what I thought.
And then it's,
Robert proposed, Colin seconded.
1960.
and
Yes.
from that,
Oh, that's
that's
fine.
fine. We will turn.
Well, for noise pollution.
Okay, we were going to turn off the live streaming.
Show of hands.
Yeah. it's all unanimous.
Sorry, whack it off.
So we'll turn off the broadcast, please.
It's disappointing, 7 people.
Oh, no, we have 7 viewers.